Hello and welcome to Walk the Pod, your daily walking show where I take my podcast for a walk because I don't have a dog. This is episode 3, series 52, on the theme of awe. And today I'm going to talk about the trinary nature of awe, of perhaps that's different from binary, by the way. Trinary nature of awe, one more than binary. Which could be defined as power, wonder, and fear. Welcome to Walk the Pod. I brought you a bit of science, a landmark paper from Keltner and Haight yesterday, 2003, talking about awe and sort of covering lots and lots of aspects of it from different disciplines: sociology, psychology, philosophy. And today I'm going back to a paper that was written in 1910, believe it or not, which sort of by somebody called McCulloch, who talked about whether awe could be described as a mixture of power and wonder. And then somebody else added later on that actually there's always an element of fear with awe. But the paper goes on to talk about how actually there need not be an element of fear with awe, and that perhaps there is a spectrum of valency about whether there is fear or not. If I take the example of people, let's say, for example, that there are people who inspire awe, and on one end of the fear spectrum there is Hitler, and on the other end of the fear spectrum there is Gandhi. Whether that is an accurate spectrum with the right people at each end, I don't know, but let's not get into whether Gandhi was a good person or whether Hitler was in any way a person. But let's just take those two examples. We maybe have two people who inspire power and wonder, but one is a person who inspires a lot of fear and another perhaps isn't. And if the people element of this is a bit too controversial, let's take the example of two awesome things in nature. One of which, at one end of the spectrum, invokes a certain amount of fear along with its power and wonder, being a lightning strike, and the other, at the other end of the spectrum, perhaps invokes no fear whatsoever, but the power and the wonder is certainly there, and that example is of a beautiful sunset. So that's my little lens on awe for the day, thinking about the triangle of power, wonder and fear, and whether that helps to explain what this rather difficult to pin down emotion, if emotion is the right word, a little bit. It's actually possible to take awe on lots and lots of different levels. I think there are huge numbers of ways of looking at this, different angles and facets to it. So if you have thoughts about awe, I would really love to hear from you about anything that awe makes you think of, or any awesome experience that you've had, or if you know somebody who makes you respond in a kind of with an awe response because they demonstrate such expertise or such passion for something, or such a vast amount of lived experience in something that you're interested in. I'd love to hear about it. If you go to walkthepod.com, which is a little hub on the internet, little corner of the internet for all things Walk the Pod, the very bottom button there is leave a voice note for Walk the Pod. And you can go to a web page called SpeakPipe, which will invite you to leave 90 seconds of a voice note for me, and I shall pop it into the very next show. And the lovely thing about SpeakPipe is that I can respond and leave you a voice note back. what can I see directly in front of me? Well, actually, I haven't entirely stopped thinking about awe for the day, because one of the things that I was thinking about over the last couple of days is that as we get used to our surroundings, we do actually lose the element of awe about them. So if I lived right next to the Grand Canyon, I dare say I wouldn't find it quite as awesome a sight several months in as I did the very first day. And in a similar kind of sense, I am awestruck by the park that I'm in today, because I'm somewhere different from usual, so I'm taking it all in for the first time. Well, not for the first time, but taking it all in as a new place that I'm less familiar with than my local streets or the little park behind the hospital in Tooting. I'm in Northampton Square, the Clerkenwell campus of the university that I work at, for we have a Clerkenwell campus now, which is central London, for those not familiar with the southeast of England. So I'm usually on the Tooting campus, but today I'm on the Clerkenwell campus, and Northampton Square is absolutely stunning today. It's covered in brown and peach and yellow and lime and brown leaves, all crunching away underfoot. But it's lovely to be recording a podcast episode in the autumn, because you get the lovely scrunchy leaf sound as I walk through piles of autumn leaf litter. And I've just been in the multi-faith room here at the Clerkenwell campus to take part in the Trans Day of Remembrance, a day remembering 411 trans folk who have lost their lives in the period between last year's Trans Day of Remembrance and today, which is absolutely sobering, extremely sad, and I can't help but think we will be here next year with even more names on the list. So just feeling very somber, actually, as a result of having spent a couple of hours with the names and faces of all of those people coming up on the screen. So what I can see directly in front of me is, of course, this enormous amount of crunchy leaf litter that I've already mentioned, but also some of the soaring tower blocks, which are in and amongst the 18th century buildings that are all the way around the square. So you've got these red brick Georgian houses and terraces with huge tower blocks behind. Quite a few benches and a pavilion in the centre of the square, in which are some students hanging out. Sorry, it's not a pavilion, it's a bandstand. That would be more accurate, wouldn't it? A bandstand. Thank you for walking with me, dear friends. It has been an absolute delight to stretch my legs with you this lunchtime in a slightly different part of the world from usual, although one that I'll be at increasingly, I suspect, as we go on. Those who remember, my university that I work at is going through a merger, so we now have this North London campus, which is very exciting. I hope you are having a good day. I'm excited to bring you another 7 episodes of Walk the Pod Series 52 on awe over the next 7 working days. And I'm sure there'll be lots more things that we can think of that will make us think of all kinds of different elements of awe. Quite a difficult emotion to pin down, and not one that there's very much written about. So it's very fascinating. Take care of your beautiful mind, yourselves and each other, and I'll be back with episode 4 tomorrow.